Today on Expert Showcase, we travel to Sydney, Australia to meet with Dev Singh, talking about 3 fundamentals to build a world-class brand. Dev, welcome to Expert Showcase. We're so happy to have you as today's expert guest. I said we traveled to Sydney, Australia. Unfortunately, only through the intertubes. You get to be in Sydney, Australia. How are you doing today?
I'm very well. It's quite late here in Sydney, but I'm very excited and awakened to be on the show with you, Mark. So thank you for having me.
And oddly, it's very early here in the U.S. of A. So there you go. So Dev, orient our audience a little bit here. What are we talking about in today's episode?
Today we're talking about, Mark, 3 things that I believe are extremely fundamental for coaches, consultants, business owners, particularly coaches and consultants that are starting out, to get right to build a world-class brand. And I know that terminology gets thrown around. It's a bit of a catchphrase sometimes, but I have a very specific and clear idea of what I mean by world-class. And as we go through the points in this segment, I'll explain exactly what that means and why it's so valuable. But essentially, if you're looking to get more customers, if you're looking to make more money, and most importantly, if you're looking to have a greater impact on the world through your work, which I know a lot of your audience will, then these are the 3 keys that I believe are fundamental.
Excellent. So just to do a quick rundown now of the 3 keys that we're going to hit. So we're going to talk about understanding the difference between branding and marketing. We're going to talk about learning the importance of and the relationship between message, audience, and language. And then we're going to talk about delivering compelling messages with 5 eternally reliable steps. I like that. So let's take those in order, Dev. I know we could probably talk for days on these topics. We're going to basically hit the highlights here and then tell people how to get in touch with you if they would like to delve deeper into the depths of this. So let's start with understanding the difference between branding and marketing. I would venture to guess that probably quite a few marketing professionals don't know the difference.
Yeah, that's right. A lot of people don't know the difference, and a few that do, they don't appreciate the difference. It's probably one of the biggest challenges I've found when I'm training and leading on stages, explaining this stuff to people. And as you rightly said, I do often spend at least a full day explaining this whole thing. So to give you a quick summary, I'm just going to refer to my notes here to make it more specific. But the biggest challenge that I find with branding and marketing is not understanding the difference is going to get you in trouble, because you don't know when you're measuring a branding activity and when you're measuring a marketing activity. And often how that affects coaches and consultants, I find, is that when they get started, they invest a lot of time in one or the other, expecting the value that they should be getting from the other activity.
Right.
So to explain very clearly what branding is, it's really the strategic development articulation of your organization. I have a very specific and very special definition that I've come up with for brand over the years, over the years of working with brands all around the world. And what it is specifically this: your brand is your customer's experience of their relationship with you. How you nurture that experience that they have of that relationship with you, how you develop it, how you influence it, and how you direct it to make that experience something truly unique and special is the act of branding. And anything that you do that is going to develop and enhance that experience, that essentially is what branding is. Now, how this differs to marketing is very, very key and important, and some people still will think it's a facetious differentiation, but it's actually not, I reassure you, and I'll explain exactly why in a minute. So I'm going to refer to the American Marketing Association's definition, and I'll just tilt my head over here to read it exactly. It's the American Marketing Association defines marketing as the activity, set of institutions, and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Now, it's a very all-encompassing definition.
Right.
And
it's broad.
A lot of people, sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I said it is definitely broad, yeah.
It's very broad. It's very broad. And this is why I stress so often to people who ask me this, and I say, well, you know what? Marketing is essentially everything that builds your business. It really is. So then people ask me, well, you're talking about the difference between branding and marketing. Why is that important? It's very simple. Marketing, in even simpler terms, in my terms, is everything that is involved in finding and getting and keeping the customers that you have. Branding takes it to a next level. Branding really enhances that experience that you have with them. Therein, building a world-class brand. And there's a lot of things that you can do to not just be marketing, but actually be building a world-class brand through branding activities specifically. And unfortunately, we don't have too much time for that, but in the next few key points, we'll talk more about it. Yeah,
we'll tell people how they can get in touch with you, because they're going to want to by the end of even our brief overview here. So let's get into some of that. So learning the importance of the relationship between message, audience, and language. Obviously, these are key, but maybe subtle to some people.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about niche marketing or finding your niche in a market, and they kind of stop there. And what I found, working across a lot of different types of organizations, with a lot of different types of clients over different cultures and different countries, is that there's something that unifies the success that people have, regardless of where they're coming from in terms of the size of their business, whether it's coaching or consulting or whatever it might be, regardless of what kind of customers and clients that they're dealing with, and regardless of the culture that they're coming from. And it's really the integrity that those three components have with each other. Your message, quite simply, is what it is that you have to say. Now, where people get a little bit confused about this is that it's not what you have to say. There's a difference. And the difference is that what your message is really something that transcends your products and services. And what I mean by that even more specifically is that it's really an accumulation of the values that you stand for, what you stand for, and in some cases even what you stand against. When you can start articulating that, what you're actually articulating is the ethos and character of your business. When you start doing that, you can start actually emphasizing what makes you different in the marketplace. When you start doing that, people will value you for who you are as a coach and consultant, and all of a sudden what you've done by doing that is you've eliminated any notion of competition, because there's only one of you, right? You can't compete with other people when what you're actually presenting, what you're actually speaking and saying is your unique message, and everybody has one. Sometimes it takes a bit of digging into to find out what that is, and that's again something that I do a little bit deeper with clients. Then we come to audience, and this is more around the traditional niching sense, but it's essentially, well, who is your audience? If you could get on stage for just 5 minutes and you had an opportunity to share that message with people, that message that's not what you're going to sell, it's what you want to say, who would those people be? Who would that audience be? And that's why I like the notion of figuring out your audience, not just your customers and clients, because I think sometimes we can have a lot of different kinds of customers and clients at different levels, and people get obsessed with this idea of creating your perfect customer avatar. I think it's a great exercise and everyone should do it. But even before you do that, figure out who your audience is, who is going to value that unique and differentiated message that you have, which is even bigger than your business. It's actually about who you are, not just what you do. Then it's about language. That's the third factor, which is really about, well, everybody speaks a unique language. And as I mentioned, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients all around the world from different cultures who literally do have different languages.
Right.
And yet what I found is that everybody has a unique language that's very specific to them, and market segments will have a different language that's specific to them. And they might all be speaking English, but the style that they're communicating in, the things that are on the front of their mind, things that they value, things that they want to talk about, are going to be very different. And if you can figure out what that language is, then you can really start getting into their heart and speaking to them at an emotional level. And the reason that we do this is very simple. It's people buy from emotion. They don't buy from a place of logic.
Right. Absolutely. I love the distinction you're making, that it's the relationship you're really building in this branding process, and that's what is your unique feature. Of course, there's only one of you. Your company has a unique, personality essentially that you're cultivating at that point. The point of sale is a very small piece of that. It's the relationship overall with who you are as a company or who you are as a coach or a consultant, and that's what you're cultivating through these vehicles of the message, knowing who your audience is because you're building a relationship with them, and then carefully choosing your words and your language, right? So I really like that distinction. I think that's very helpful.
Thank you.
So let's talk about the message itself then. So you talk about 5 eternally, you're making a big promise here, Dev, 5 eternally reliable steps. Let's talk about this.
Look, absolutely. Look, firstly, I want to emphasize the point that I didn't come up with these 5 eternally sort of absolutely perennial steps that will last forever, and they will be so compelling and so important that they're really going to be valuable to you in your life in general, not just in your business. Anytime you want to have influence over somebody when you're communicating a message, if you can keep these 5 keys, 5 steps, I should say, in mind, you're gonna absolutely accelerate your influence. I didn't come up with these, and they've come from fields of social psychology, studies of influence, the world of internet marketing again and again. Some of your audience may have heard of these before as well. They're not trademarked to any one particular person, and yet it surprises me how many people are simply astounded by the simplicity and the elegance of these messages and don't actually follow them, don't actually do a lot of these steps. The thing that often comes to mind is this concept of the elusive obvious. It's when you share an idea with somebody and they think, oh, wow, that's so obvious. Why didn't I think of that?
Right.
But it eludes them until somebody else points it out.
That's
so
right.
Whilst these are very, very simple steps, I find they're extremely valuable. And I'm just going to refer again to my notes over here to explain them properly. So the first step, really, really quickly, is to create an awareness of need. Whenever you're sharing a message with someone, if you're not making it absolutely clear what is the need that the person has to A, listen to your message, and then B, stay in touch with that message to actually follow through with what's coming at the other side of it, you've lost them before you've even begun. And a lot of people will jump in and not realize that what's actually happening by not creating an awareness of need is that they're being self-absorbed. And I know that sounds really harsh to some people.
Well, it's true.
Yeah, but being calling them out on that, but it's true. It is true. A lot of people are self-absorbed, and sometimes that's because they have an anxiety around being in this position of selling or trying to convince somebody of something. But the fact is that if you think of it from the perspective of you are in business to serve other people, and you're building a brand because what you're really building is the experience and the quality and value of experience that somebody has with your exchange of services, then you're creating an awareness of need. You're not convincing them that they need something that they don't. You've actually gone to the point of thinking about what they need, and you're just making them aware of it so that you can serve them better. That's the absolute first step. The next step is explaining the opportunity value and the opportunity cost. What that means is that they need to have an intimate understanding of what is the value of listening to you and listening to that message and actually paying attention to it, and also what's the cost of not listening to it. So what might they be missing out on or losing or potentially risking if they don't pay attention to that message carefully enough? And it's a big thing. People often jump from creating an awareness of need to just going right for
the sale.
Go for the sale or go for the kill.
Right.
They don't understand that if you're not explaining the actual specific value, just because somebody feels that they need something doesn't mean that they're emotionally inspired to want it. That's the key difference. Now, the third thing that you need to do, regardless of the context, again, this is not just sales, it transcends that, is that you need to demonstrate credibility. Why is the person that you're talking to and listening to you specifically delivering that message? You need to demonstrate credibility of the message itself. So not just the value of taking action on whatever the message is, but the value of the message itself to them specifically, personally, and also in a global sense, in the greater scheme of things of what they care about, making sure that it's aligned with their values. Once you've done that, you need to demonstrate credibility for yourself, that you're the right person to actually be delivering this message. You know, I've had the privilege of delivering this message to hundreds of people all around the world now. That doesn't automatically give me credibility. But you know, I'm very fortunate to be able to share this message again and again, and having actually implemented this and worked with dozens and dozens of businesses and made them a lot of money in the process and helped them impact the world and change them. When I explain to people that this process has gone through that kind of rigorous testing and I've been there to deliver that and help them, what it does is it inspires trust. And when it inspires trust, it allows people to take action with more confidence. So some people have a problem with demonstrating credibility because they feel that it's showing off or it's obnoxious. maybe not as much in America as it is in Australia. People are a little
That's
bit
probably
more,
true. We probably have less trouble with that than many.
it's what I've known. Hey, I've done most of my training from Americans, so all the love to that. But I know very well Australians and other people in other cultures have a little bit more of a tall poppy syndrome, as we call
Right.
it.
A little more self-effacing. Yes, exactly.
Exactly, absolutely. And it's part of our charm, I guess. And yet sometimes it can be a problem if it's an insecurity. And the way it becomes an insecurity is if you think that it's not actually part of delivering the service to the people that you want to serve, but it actually is. Because unless you can inspire that kind of trust in what you have to say and who you are, they're not going to take action. And if they're not going to take action, especially as a coach and a consultant, you're not actually empowering them to help themselves better. So next time,
excellent point. Because I mean, if you don't inspire yourself, as a leader, then why would they follow, right? So
exactly, yes. And then this is the underlying unsaid message in this is something that you just pointed out, Mark, which is that it is actually about leadership. So I really implore everyone listening to this, be courageous when it comes to demonstrating credibility, and demonstrate your credibility from the point of service. If you just hold that intention when you're doing it, it will be a lot more valuable, it will be a lot more genuine, and it will actually help make a difference. So step 4 is where we start going into the actual territory of explaining the actual sale. So at this point, we're explaining the unique selling proposition. Now that's a pretty common term people understand in sales. In case some of you listening don't understand that, a unique selling proposition is simply what is the value of what it is that you have to sell that is unique. Now, the reason that that's really important is because many neuroscientists over generations have studied what impacts our brain to make purchasing decisions or take action on something. And what they've done is a lot of tests that compare quality versus uniqueness. And what a lot of tests have found, and if anyone wants to email to actually ask me about these studies, I happen to have a medical science degree, so I'm a little bit of a nerd when it comes to these things. I studied a lot of neuropsychology and neuroscience at university. And if anybody wants to email me and ask me for these studies, I'm more than happy to share them. But basically what the findings of these studies are is that people will take a lot more action based on uniqueness and put a lot more trust on uniqueness than they will on quality. Now that sounds counterintuitive, and it seems almost dumb, to be honest, that why would you take something just because it's different when you have the option of taking something that's technically better? I'm not exactly sure why that is, but that's what seems to happen.
Well, and here's the obvious truth of that, right? When you walk down the aisle of the store, you'll see lots and lots of products say new and improved. When's the last time you saw one that says better?
That's true.
That's not happening by accident, right?
No. A lot of research goes into this stuff, and it's a very consistent finding that anything that comes out as completely separate and distinctive to the market will actually sell better, essentially, and reach and connect with their audiences and customers better. So what I would encourage people to do is really strive to be the best version of yourself. But when it comes to marketing and when it comes to compelling messages, don't try and convince people that you're better than anyone else. Don't try and convince people that you're best. Convince people that you're different, and what you have to offer uniquely resonates with them, uniquely resonates with their need. And if you follow these steps in sequence, in order, and you follow them carefully with genuine intentions, they will be compelling and they will be eternal. They'll be eternally irresistible and very, very useful. And that brings me to the 5th point, the 5th and final point, which it seems so obvious to me, and as a marketing expert, Mark, I'm sure it seems pretty obvious to you, and it seems obvious to Chris, and other people who have more experience with marketing, it seems obvious to them. However, even with people it seems obvious to, it never fails to amaze me how many people forget to do this. Even I forget to do this sometimes, which is the 5th and final step to deliver a compelling message. Have a call to action.
Right.
Always ask for something.
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen in your experience as well plenty of people who do all of those 4 steps pretty well, and then they just forget to ask for something.
Right.
They forget to make a call to action, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you've got me. I'm on the hook. Tell me what to do next, and you just go away.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't know how to. Tell me what button to hit. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's painful, and I think a lot of this is rooted in again an anxiety that people have instilled in the back of their mind, which is that if I'm selling, I'm trying to take something,
Mm-hmm.
This is very much a mindset concept. And the mindset behind this is that sales is an act of taking. And I am asking something, a call to action. It means that I am requesting you to give me something, as opposed to inspiring and empowering you to take action towards getting something that you actually need to help you reach your goals.
Another beautiful distinction there. Absolutely. I mean, you're right. I mean, people fear because I'm taking your money, and they're forgetting that, no, I'm delivering a product or service. I'm delivering something that we've just had a conversation, and you've just told me you need. You know, so I'm doing you a favor, and yes, there's a cost, but that's the afterthought. But that's what gets people hung up. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a big part of that as well is that when people think about the idea of delivering compelling messages or making a sales call or having a sales conversation, they mistakenly believe that the entire sales process is a call to action. The entire sales process starts when you're asking them to, please give me something, or please do this, or please go to this website or this offer, or something like that. It's actually not true. The sales process, or even the process, I guess, of delivering these compelling messages, actually begins in your very first interaction. And the way that it begins in the first interaction is very simple. You just simply ask them, well, what is your biggest challenge? What are you challenged with at the moment? What is your need? And most people will be really grateful for that, because a lot of people don't have that awareness of need. And in just ticking off that first step of delivering your message, you've actually served the people that you set out to serve automatically.
Well, Dev, amazingly, I think you have delivered on that big promise of 5 eternally useful things. And so I'm going to wrap us up at this point, because I clearly spend days, and I'm going to really encourage people to very much get in touch with you. We'll tell people exactly how to do that. This is... I know we've had to be brief and keep it kind of tight, but there's enormous depth and value even at this surface level, and obviously there's much more for people to learn. So we've been talking about the 3 fundamentals to build a world-class business, and you've got much more than 3 fundamentals that you've just delivered. So we talked about understanding the difference between branding and marketing. We talked about learning the importance and the relationship between message, audience, and language, and then we just went through, even at a surface level, delivering compelling messages with 5 eternally reliable steps, and absolute great stuff. So Dev, people are going to need to get in touch with you. Let's tell them how to do that. The website is sketchpadideas.com. That's how you get connected with Dev Singh, and his email is dev@sketchpadideas.com. Very tricky email there, Dev. Very difficult to follow there. And you've got a bit of an offer for people. So if they go to sketchpadideas.com, you have an opportunity to get a 25-minute call with Dev. You just got a sense of how much value you're going to get out of even a 25-minute call, going through your brand and doing an audit and optimization kind of process with Dev. So Dev, that is a very generous offer indeed, because it's clear to me that your time is valuable. I'm feeling the value just in the conversations we've had prepping for the show, as well as doing the show with you. So I really appreciate all these great insights.
My pleasure, Mark. Thank you so much for having me. And I have to apologize on record for how long it's taken to get on the show. I have been very challenging, I know, to...
Well worth the wait, Dev. Well worth the wait.
I hope so. I hope your audience finds it.
I think that will be very obvious to people as they watch and listen. So thank you so much. We look forward to continuing to talk to you and have you be part of our world. But today, thank you for being our guest expert on Expert Showcase.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And another great Expert Showcase episode. Chris, what should people do right now?
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're a coach or consultant, imagine what it would do for you and your business if you were a guest on Experts Showcase. And here's the best part. Other than possibly increasing your business, an appearance on Expert Showcase is free. We give you a copy of your episode so you can use as marketing collateral, and we give you a coaching session to go along with it to tell you how you can best market your episode and other tips and tricks about your business. So what you want to do is head on over to expertshowcase.com, click on the big yellow apply button, and apply to be our next featured guest on the Expert Showcase. Now, if you're a coach or consultant and you've already imagined what having your own internet talk show will do for you, then we want you to head to VideoContent.Agency and check us out, check our packages out, and get in contact with us. Let's see if we're a good fit, and let's see if we're the ones to produce you and make you the next star and have your own internet talk show. And until next time, Mark, anything else?
I couldn't have said it any better, so just do what he said.